I guess something is always happening. As someone who's part of Team Nothing Ever Happens, I must admit I was wrong in this situation because something happened. And it's not related to Trump, or at least not on the surface. Who knows? Maybe Trump's awful regulation policies that he's just passed in regards to, like, air travel were the cause of this. Who knows? But all flights have been halted at the Reagan National Airport due to a plane crash. At this time, it is unclear what caused the plane to go down. Police are investigating a plane crash near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. D.C. Fire and EMS say on Wednesday night, a small plane went down near the airport, landing in the Potomac River. All flights at Reagan National have been halted as rescue crews work to find victims from the plane. At this time, it's unclear what caused the plane to go down. It is unclear how many people were on board the plane at the time. Multiple agencies are on the ground and in the air conducting rescue efforts. Quote, all takeoffs and landings have been halted at DCA. Reagan Airport said at about 9:15 p.m. on Wednesday. Quote, emergency personnel are responding to an aircraft incident on the airfield. The terminal remains open. We'll update. Dude, no survivors? We don't know. They're still doing rescue operations. I'm gonna read the next article that, like, updates us after 30 minutes. This is from right after the plane crash was announced. And it happened in Washington, too. Like, when I first heard, like, plane went down in Washington, I was like, okay, there's a lot of places that story could go. But it seems like it just might have been, like, a plane crash. Dude, I am terrified of flying, like, deathly terrified of heights and flying in general. Washington State or D.C.? D.C. Learning that a plane inbound from Kansas was involved in a crash at DCA. I am in contact with authorities. Please join me in praying for all involved. Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, like, my nightmare for the people that were on that plane. This is genuinely, like, a nightmare scenario for me. Or it is the nightmare scenario, actually. Like, the nightmare. I have plane crash nightmares nearly every night. Like, that's my, like, scary dream that I have. Like, where I wake up at midnight, like, it's like I'm on a plane and it starts crashing. I am terrified of heights. I think I've got that, like, vertigo thing, where when you're sleeping, your body starts to feel like it's falling, and it affects my dreams, and then I snap out of it. So, this is a terrifying situation. Because it is not just a, but the nightmare situation to me. Senator Roger Marshall from Kansas tweeted, quote, I've seen the reports of a collision with a DC helicopter. It collided with a helicopter, apparently, and an inbound flight from Wichita, KS. We are in, sorry. Fuck, I can't speak right now. We're in contact with authorities working to get answers. We ask you to join us in prayer for every single passenger and their families. This is an ongoing investigation. We have crews on the way to gather more information. We will update you when we learn more. Bro. It crashed into the river. We have an image of what appears to be the rescue operations on the edge of a pier, like one of those dock areas, seeming like that's like a bunch of emergency vehicles that I think are deploying to the water to do search and rescue, because the plane crashed in the Potomac River in DC. Very scary. Very, very scary. Now, to be clear, it's possible that everyone on board survived, but it's also possible no one did. We don't really know that much yet, it seems, but I've got an updated article here that should hopefully update us in the situation. Oh man, you do just know that, like, MAGA's gonna run with some narrative that this was caused by, like, DEI, like, pilot hires or something. For those that don't know, that's been one of the biggest talking points of the right, like, for over a year now, is that, like, there have been a bunch of crashes due to DEI hires on planes, but there is no more DEI, though. But here's the thing you gotta know about conservative propaganda. There is no more DEI for as long as it is politically expedient to celebrate victory. celebrating victory and being like, look at us, we're the winning side, we're winning, the people's will is with us, is a convincing point. And so the look that the right is like winning and that DEI is dead and wokeness is dead is expedient for them for now, but it's not going to be expedient for long. They're going to need to go back to playing the victim and the underdog eventually. And when they do, I don't know if it's going to play as well with Trump in office and everything that's going down. But in the meantime, I will say that they're going to switch it up. Like, once something happens where they need to blame DEI, they're going to blame DEI. They're going to pretend like they never destroyed DEI and celebrated the fall of DEI in the first place, because it'll stop being beneficial to celebrate their victory, and it'll become more beneficial to doomer about how they're the underdog that needs to fight against an overwhelming foe. Because remember, big point of fascism is the enemy is both simultaneously weak and strong. They're weak enough as to encourage you to pursue eliminating them, but they're strong enough as to strike fear into you at the idea of what might happen if you don't take action to fight against their goals. And so the enemy is both weak and strong, and because of that, the enemy is weak right now, the left, the enemy, because they've won. They beat DEI, but I assure you, as soon as they need to say so, the left will be back to being the dominant side. The woke DEI will be destroying society, and somehow the swamp will still exist, all while Trump and MAGA control everything about our government and everything in Washington. They can never accept the responsibility associated with holding this much power. They still have to redirect the responsibility for the bad things, or the culpability for the bad things, onto something else, even if it doesn't exist. DC police say that the crash does not involve a police helicopter. Okay, so the idea that a helicopter was collided with was wrong. Or I guess that a police helicopter was. DC police said that it was not a Metropolitan Police Department helicopter involved in this incident. MPD's helicopter was not involved in this incident and is currently assisting in the multi-agency response, MPD said. Learning that a plane inbound from Kansas was involved in a crash at DCA. I'm in contact with authorities. Please join me in praying for all involved. Okay, so it wasn't a police helicopter, but it did crash into a helicopter. It was a Black Hawk helicopter, so like one of the little guys. Reagan National Airport is closed following plane crash. Like, how does this happen, though? Like, this must be due... maybe this is, like, a crazy conclusion to jump to without enough information, but this seems like such a simple thing to avoid. Because here's where my mind is going right now, okay? Let me walk you through my thought process, right? So the plane crashed because it hit a little Black Hawk helicopter, right? Now, America has one of the most sophisticated air traffic control systems in the world. Like, it is very rare that air traffic control makes a mistake. And the idea that a helicopter would be cleared to just fly around over Washington, D.C., in such a way where a passenger flight could then proceed to collide with it over Washington, D.C., that is either, like, the amount of federal workers that have been fired or had their, like, work frozen and their pay frozen has led to, like, a massive there's not enough workers working in the world of air traffic control right now, and so this led to, like, a massive disaster that otherwise would have easily been prevented. Or if some motherfucker managed to buy a small helicopter, flew it up into the air, thinking at night would be the safest time to do it because maybe there'll be less planes out, and then ended up getting windshield wipered like a bug by a full-on passenger plane. Because, like, it's either a massive fuck-up on the part of air traffic control, and in a situation like this, that has to be due to, like, recent federal negligence becoming the standard now. But then I'm thinking, like, that seems fast, you know? That seems extreme. Maybe it was just some random asshole, but how would that have been allowed to happen? Like, aren't there radars in DC that would have detected an unauthorized helicopter flying around? And, like, wouldn't they have, like, scrambled fucking jets, like F-16s, to, like, ground that helicopter the second they detected it was in the air without permission above Washington, or D.C., our capital? Like, there's so many questions I have about this, because I have a general idea of how, like, the world of aviation works. A very, very basic idea of how, like, the rules work and what you're allowed to do, what you're allowed to fly, and how that should work. So, like, either someone massively fucked up, or there's actually something crazy that happened here. Dude, all of DC is restricted airspace. That's the thing, right? Like, that helicopter must have been something. Yeah, I have no clue. Let's read more, because I am very curious. Reagan National Airport closed. Passenger aircraft crashes in Potomac River near Reagan National Airport. Dude, there's, like, barely any coverage of this right now. What we know so far: a passenger aircraft crashed into the Potomac River near Reagan National Airport outside of Washington, D.C. after it collided mid-air with a helicopter as it approached the runway. So it collided with a helicopter while approaching the runway. So, no, this had to have been air traffic control fucking up, or somebody who was, like, taking their own helicopter out and was using the airport to do so, if that's even something you can do at a D.C. airport. Like, took off without authorization as a plane was coming in. Because it seems like the helicopter was taking off at the airport, the plane was coming in for landing, and then they collided. Just after $100 million fighter jet got wrecked. Did that happen like today too? Dude, it's very possible that flying in the next few days is about to become like one of the most dangerous things you can do in America. You gotta remember, all of this shit is managed by federal employees who Trump is currently working to cut down on. They're mass firing, they're freezing the pay and hiring of these workers. We're going to see severe deficits in labor in areas that are like, we talk about how bad it's going to be, but it's going to be so bad that like getting on a plane, you might be like 80% more likely to die in a plane crash now. Like, time to leave ASAP? Well, that's the thing, right? What if it's too dangerous to fly now? Like, what if this is just the start? And, like, several plane crashes a day is now going to be the norm because we're just so underfunded and so underlabored in the world of air traffic control now. Because so many federal workers are getting fired. We have to consider all these different ways that what Trump is doing to the federal government could affect us, such as maybe it's not safe to fly anymore, and we're not going to know that until like 3 years from now when we see the stats have like 800% rise in plane crashes since Trump took office. This could be the start of the new normal, guys. It really could be. You gotta remember, it's all federal employees that manage this entire system. These are scary times, you know? Like, my mom's flying out to visit me in a month, and I'm like, fuck, do I tell her not to fly out? Like, there's a good chance that we cancel that ticket over the next month more plane crashes happen, because it's scary, dude. This could legitimately be the new normal. She should drive all the way to Washington from Southern California. Trump is going to mandate the removal of fly-by-wire systems. Trump is probably going to eliminate a lot of air traffic regulations, give Boeing a lot of... you know how Boeing has been having severe fuck-ups that have cost lives, and there's been whistleblowers getting mysteriously suicided or whatever, quote-unquote? Like, listen, the Republicans have always been in the pocket of these billionaires. I think this is when we're really going to see how bad that can be for the average American. Honestly, travel by train. Fuck it. Back to traveling by train. Big business are cheering on their demise as late. Big businesses are cheering on their own demise as late-stage capitalism at its finest. True. That is very real. Traveling on Amtrak is based and it's more fun. Yeah, I honestly think I'll probably want to take like a lot more trains. Trains won't be safe either. They will be. Trains, I think, are actually the most safe method of transportation, period. I think cars, bikes, planes are all more dangerous than train. Like, even if we're counting per capita, we're accounting for all the numbers, everything. By train, you are traveling the safest you can, and surprisingly fast, too. Bros, I'm out of water. It's so over. Anyway, we legitimately have no more information about this situation. But I guess the moral of the story is, depending on what ends up being determined to be the response or the cause to this, I think there's a very good chance that this is the start of Trump's federal employee purge already taking effect, and the very scary areas in which it can have an impact. So let's just hope that everybody has a bike and everybody has a pass to get on their local train system or has a train station nearby, because it's probably about to become the best way to travel long distances in the coming months. That's my prediction, okay? Maybe I'll be wrong, but I think flying in Trump's America is about to get really dangerous, and we are seeing the beginning of the new normal in Trump's America. I hope to God I'm wrong. But hey, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it enjoyable, educational, or entertaining, then please consider leaving a like, whether you're watching live or after the fact when it goes up as its own video, because every single thumbs up you leave on my content is the best way to support my channel. It forces YouTube to push it out to new people and get me new subscribers and viewers in real time, so I really appreciate that. Commenting as well is another really good way to support the channel. Likes and comments on all my new videos helps immensely, so I really appreciate everyone who does that. And of course, if you want to see more from me in the future and you want YouTube to actually tell you when I go live or upload new videos, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon and turn on all notifications, because trust me, if you don't, YouTube won't. Finally, if you want to support me directly and help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching as always, and have a good one.